Have you ever walked into a room and felt someone's presence before they even said a word? You can't quite put your finger on it, but you felt it, right? And that's executive presence. And let me tell you, it is not about being the loudest voice or have the flashiest title. Think of someone you admire as a leader. It's not just what they say. It's literally how they made you feel, right? And we've all heard that quote before. So here's the kicker. Neuroscience tells us that presence isn't accidental. It's intentional. It's about understanding how your brain and the brains of everyone around you respond to trust, tone, and authenticity. Now, in today's episode, we are decoding the science of executive presence, and we're giving you practical tools to actually lead with impact, even in the highest of stake moments. So let's go. So listen, y'all, what's actually happening in the brain when we evaluate someone's presence, right? Because it all starts with trust. Within milliseconds, the brain's limbic system, the part that handles emotion, it's going to ask 3 questions when it encounters somebody. It's going to be asking itself, can I trust you? Do you have good intentions? And are you friend or foe, right? Are you a threat or are you an ally? So let's break that down a little bit. There's different ways that you can actually have executive presence. So first, let's talk about body language. Open postures and steady gestures actually activate trust-building neural pathways. So when our body says, I'm confident and approachable, other people's brains respond with a sense of ease. Now, let me tell you about mirror neurons because I love these little things. These are the brain's copycats, right? They sync with other people's mirror neurons. So if your tone is steady and your authenticity shines through, their mirror neurons will pick up and align with you, right? And so now let's talk a little bit about micro expressions and eye contact. These tiny cues, and they are tiny, reinforce alignment and trust. See, a fleeting smile, right? A smile or just simple direct eye contact and engagement. That's how you build credibility without actually saying a word, right? So again, we're talking all about presence here. So here's the secret sauce, leaders. Leaders with strong executive presence, they engage the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that drives emotional regulation and strategic thinking and whatnot. They don't just react, they respond. They intentionally shape how other people perceive them. That's the key to executive presence. So building presence and conversational intelligence, right? Conversational intelligence simply means that you know how to prime someone's brain for trust, partnership, and mutual success. So conversational intelligence is your ability to shape and flow the outcomes and the interactions that you have with people. This isn't about being polished and perfect. It's about being intentional, right? So here's how you do it. First, I want you to start listening with intent. Neuroscience shows that when we actively listen, and actively listening, by the way, means that you're using all of your senses, right? Your eyes, your ears, your communication, body language, etc. So when you're actively listening, your brain releases oxytocin. And that oxytocin, remember, I've told you, that's the trust chemical. It makes people feel like I'm part of your tribe, you're part of mine. So people feel heard and respected. And when they feel that, they tend to lean in. So that's important for executive presence because, again, it's about how we're making people feel. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to adapt to your audience. Not everyone communicates the same way. Not only is that a good thing, it's actually okay, right? So great leaders know how to read the room, and then they know how to adjust. And this is especially important, leaders, as we lead, culturally diverse teams, right? So when you adapt and you show respect and you foster inclusion, people are going to feel your executive presence. So think of it like this. Every conversation is a chance to build trust or to break it. Let me say that again. Every conversation is a chance to build trust or to break it. Leaders with executive presence understand that their words and their tone and their body language are tools, and they use these tools strategically to connect and inspire. So here's some practical strategies for strengthening your executive presence. All right, so let's get to some practical stuff, right? Here are 3 techniques that you can start using today that will level up your executive presence. First, I want you to start with intentional pauses. See, silence, leaders, is powerful. And if you're a salesperson, the most powerful tool you can use is silence. Ask the question, stop talking, right? See, when you pause, you give yourself time to think. And more importantly, you give other people, their brain time to process what you just said. It projects authority and it shows that you're in control of the conversation. So knowing how to use silence is so powerful, leaders. Another thing I want you to think about is mirroring body language. And this isn't about mimicking somebody. It's really a subtle alignment. So when you're mirroring someone's posture or gestures, it creates a subconscious rapport, right? They feel connected to you without even realizing why. And then the last thing I really want you to do when you think about executive presence is mindfulness before high-stake moments. Now, before your next meeting or presentation, try this simple technique. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths in and focus on your intention. This really engages your prefrontal cortex, which is right in the front of your head. It calms your nervous system and it sets you up to project confidence. So let me close with this, leaders. Executive presence isn't just about confidence. It's about connection. And it's how you make people feel when you walk into a room or when you speak in a meeting or even when you send an email. And the good news, presence isn't a talent, it's a skill, which simply means that you can build it, you can learn it with intention and practice. So here's my challenge for you this week. I want you to pick one of the techniques that we talked about. So maybe it's, listening more intentionally, or maybe it's using pauses, or maybe it's just practicing mindfulness before a really big moment. And I want you to practice it and commit. And when you commit to it, I want you to really watch how people respond. So remember, leadership isn't just about what you say or do. It's really all about how you show up. And when you master that, you're not just a leader who's can produce results, right? You're a leader who is inspiring. Until next time, I want you to keep building, I want you to keep leading, and I want you to keep showing up as the best version of you. I know you got this.